I'm Joe Zekas. I'm from YoChicago. I'm sitting here with Garry and Christine from Garrison Partners. So introduce yourselves for me, guys, and tell me a little bit about what Garrison Partners does.
Well, my name is Garry Benson, and I'm the founder of Garrison Partners, which is a national sales and marketing organization that provides product development, which is the designing of the homes, and product positioning, which is determining what their target market is, and presentation, which is what you people see as customers when you come into the sales trailers and take a look at new communities. We've been doing this for about 14 years now. And
don't forget about the sales.
And we do the sales.
And Christine, you are?
My name is Christine Lutz. I'm Senior Vice President of Garrison Partners, and I've been with the firm for 12 years. And I am in charge of making sure that a lot of the promises that Garry makes are kept.
And you work, that doesn't sound like an easy challenge. You work in a number of markets across the country.
We're actually in 9 markets right now, primarily in the Midwest, although we expand to Texas and Florida as well. And far out east is Massachusetts.
We've been really fortunate in being able to be in several different markets at the same time and be able to take the best practices from each of those markets and be able to apply them to other markets. So it gives us a really broad perspective of the real estate market at any given time.
That broad perspective, I think, is part of what we're looking for here. Our focus is on Chicago. Everybody's reading the national stories of gloom and doom and downturns and record low of this and record low of that. What's going on in Chicago? How does Chicago stack up against the national market?
Chicago is probably one of the strongest markets in the country right now, although the Midwest itself has been relatively strong. Mm-hmm. Even as recently as last week, there was a news article that said the Milwaukee market is a strong opportunity as well. But Chicago hasn't seen is the depreciation that had been realized in many coastal markets. And in large part, it's because it was based on people using their homes rather than just speculating them as an investment. The baby boomers have been driving the housing economy since the 70s, when the acquisition of a condominium became more than just their affirmation of the American dream, but it became part of their investment portfolio. So the Chicago market in general has been very strong. Standing inventory today is at less than 2 or 3%.
2 or 3% of what, Garry?
Of the downtown Chicago market. There's probably Chicago's running about 6,000 units, 6,000 homes a year in new construction or condominium conversion.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that that's what we're discussing when we're talking about inventory and standing inventory, is that there's little of that here in Chicago. We have seen in other markets, there's been a lot of new construction that has been delivered and people not showing up at the closing table. That has been less the case here in Chicago, and again, it's because people had anticipated moving into the home and actually using it rather than using it as an investment vehicle. So that's been on the positive side. But as far as the consumer is concerned, we've had 11 years of a seller's market in Chicago, and 11 years of the seller's market pretty much everywhere in the United States that we've been doing business. And so I think from a consumer perspective, from a buyer, that this is actually a terrific opportunity for anyone who's out there searching for a home today, because there is an opportunity to take advantage of developers' need to unload inventory so that they can start their next project, that they have pressures from the bank or pressures from construction standpoint that they need to continue to make sales. And so that's to the consumer's benefit, which we haven't seen in the past 11 years.
True. I think one of the most important things that the consumer needs to recognize is not to lose focus of what the purpose of the home is. it's not just an investment. It's really, the foundation. It's oftentimes the largest investment that the consumer's making, but it's really, the foundation for their lifestyle. And what happens today is people are so driven for what's the deal of the week that sometimes they lose focus on what they're looking to buy.
And why they're buying it.
And why they're buying it. The deal of the week could always change, and the questions that you have to ask yourself is the quality of the builder there? Is the reputation of the builder there? Is the quality of the product in place? Is the location what you're looking for? After you've decided on those values, then it's up to the developer and the consumer to come together on a basis where they can reach mutual agreement and create a win-win situation. It's not necessarily about the best deal, because what happens is when you lose...
But Gary, people are concerned about the deal of the week.
Oh yeah, they are concerned about the deal of the week, but what they forget is that the week will pass, they'll close on their home, and then they're going to be stuck living there for a while, and they better like it.
Price integrity is probably one of the most important issues facing the housing industry today. And that lack of that price integrity is what's undercutting the market. What happens is you might go in and look for the deal of the week, and you may be an excellent negotiator, but if the guy behind you can buy the home, 2 weeks later for $50,000 less after you've closed, where's your equity then? So I think that the integrity of the developer and the integrity of the pricing scheme is vital in making your decision. It's not necessarily what's the best deal or how good of a negotiator you are, because if somebody's better behind you, then there goes your equity.
Today, I'm hearing that one of the major concerns that buyers have is exactly that price integrity that you just identified. They're afraid that the market is going to deteriorate further.
Yes.
That they're going to buy and the prices are going to continue to go down.
If we weren't in Chicago, I think that concern would be a little bit more valid than it is here. In Vegas, they've seen price erosion up to 8 to 15% depending on the deal, and the deals that are lesser of quality didn't deliver on the promises that they had made to their original buyers. Because value engineering definitely takes place when you think that you're a screaming success. Then it's a rush to save money, so they've delivered inferior product, and price erosion will continue to happen in those deals. Also in Miami, there was almost a hysteria of investment, and so I think that's really. The market was almost irrational. We haven't seen that here in Chicago, and there hasn't really been any price erosion here in Chicago. In fact, we actually had a price appreciation of, what was it,
2.8, I think.
2.8%.
Even on a national basis. I mean, the press is what has been the biggest obstacle to a housing recovery.
Wait a second, Gary. Just because they're misrepresenting the statistics, that's an obstacle?
They are misrepresenting the statistics. I mean, other than the fact that since the early 70s, when they've started charting home appreciation on a national basis, there has never been a depreciation. This year alone is looked at the 3.1% on a national basis. Now that's a little bit of the 2-foot man and the 10-foot man equaling 6 feet if you're in a market that's highly depressed, such as California or such as Miami. But in the Midwest and in Chicago in particular, there's still appreciation. On the North Shore, there's been no devaluation of the values. There has been
There's been some in new construction spec homes, hasn't there?
There has been, in terms of time on market, has been the biggest issue. There's been a higher volume this year on the North Shore than in the year before, but it has been coming at a time where homes have been probably going, instead of out the door, instead of being sold in 3 months, they're selling in 6 to 9 months. So that's the big change.